You look up and down this box score. I mean, there's so many incredible takeaways. What is the thing that jumps off the page for you?
Well, you kind of have to go up and down the page. I think, both teams offensively were really good. I'll give Cleveland credit. I mean, they executed at a high level. They made shots. They, came at us from so many different ways. I'm pleased that we were able to stay in that. We kept our poise. We got down double figures a couple of different times, and we're able to come back. And then it goes to, just kind of down the list. The way Marcus closed the game and the execution to get him to his spots and him making shots. Elfrid has a triple-double. Dennis Smith's game was incredible. Frank comes in. We're playing him in a little bit different role where we played those guys together. His defense, I think Frank was a plus 13 with his minutes between the first and second half. Kevin Knox, maybe best game of the year. So we had, a lot of positives. We had, it was a total team effort. It was something that took everything we had with every guy.
Where have you seen this team improve the most in late game situations?
Well, I think, sometimes when teams get behind, particularly young teams or teams that haven't played together a lot, they can maybe play too fast and try to get it back too fast. And I think we've kept our poise a little bit. I think we have a little bit now. The experience has given us some confidence that we know we can continue to play the way that we play and get ourselves back in the game and trust that part of it a little bit. And I see that as probably the biggest thing right now that we've improved.
You mentioned Marcus was exceptional late in this one, but at the same time, getting back to Peyton with that triple-double, there were times down the stretch where, when Marcus is getting double-teamed, Peyton was making the right decisions and being aggressive himself. What do you like overall about the way that he attacked this game?
I think he was very aggressive, but I thought he made really good decisions. He had a tough job. That's as we looked at the matchups early, as we talked about in the pregame, they can have 4 point guard type players out there, and we felt like early in the game they were in our paint the whole game. So, it was a big job for Elfrid and Dennis and Frank and Reggie and Dot and all those guys that had to try to defend and try to contain him. And then to come on the other side and be that sharp offensively, that's impressive.
The first quarter, though, they ran up 37 points after you had done so well in Indy in that first. What were the issues and how did you clean it up?
Well, I'll give them credit first. They made everything. If we made any type of mistake and left separation, they dinged us on it and they capitalized. So, and that was something all through the game, we were dealing with, because every time we gave them a little bit of space, they were making shots. Love made some tough threes out there where he was showing the ball and coming back and shooting it with very little space. So, as you've watched enough of these games that you could play 3 nights in a row and all 3 games are different. So this was the total opposite of the game that we just played in, and that's one of the reasons I feel good about it, because we had to try to find a way to win a game another way.
Marcus, I know, was sick in the morning, and then 4 points, I think, in the first half. Did he feel better, or what happened?
I think so. I think he would now. Yeah, I guess. He's a guy that comes ready to play.
Is there something about a guy who's able to make these big shots in the final minute? Not everyone has that clutchness in them, but you see that in Marcus more and more.
Well, he's done it just so consistently, and he knows what he can do, and I think where we have grown a little bit too is if you can't get to your spots or you can't execute, you can't make those plays. And I think the guys have done a good job making sure that we're helping him get to his spots, whether it be screens or passes or spacing or whatever, and he's making big plays.
Obviously, he's a guy that is drawing a lot of interest around the league. Contenders are being mentioned with him. Just how valuable has he been to you, and how hard would it be to be without him?
Well, I just talk about how valuable he's been. He's been incredible. And the big thing I'm going to tell you, we're seeing all the stuff that he does when the lights are on, the stuff that he's doing behind the scenes in the locker room with our young players and the practices, and, having guys do the workouts that he's doing have been unbelievable. He's had such an impact on those guys, and he, as we say, has been a great veteran for these young guys to teach them the way to be successful and to build a career.